catchy phrase that people are identifying with our program.
As a quick follow-up, Coach, your record in the ACC the previous 5 years before the last 5 years was 4 games above 500. In the last 5 years, it's 34 games above 500. What changed in your mind?
Well, I think that what you have to understand, it takes a while. There's a reason why programs need to be rebuilt or rejuvenated or established, whatever the term you want to use. But they didn't get to be that way overnight. And it's hard to bring them to another level overnight. So I think it's just a normal process you go through. Everybody want to make progress, but nobody wants to go through the process. There's a process you go through in anything. There's learning, growing, maturing, and developing. While you're in the process, you get better. You gain more confidence. You make mistakes and you correct them. And so a period of time is only a natural progression when you're doing things the right way. And I think that's what has happened at Florida State. We've gotten better. We've improved. We've attracted players. Kids have conducted themselves well. We've improved. And we've been able to, probably one of the things we've been able to recruit to the system that we feel that's best for us to utilize to compete at this level. In other words, when you first take over a program, you try to play the way that's best for you to play with the talent that you have. And as you evolve, as you start getting closer and closer to the system that you feel that gives you the best chance to compete, and then you start bringing in players that fit the style that you want to play, then you continue to get that. That's part of the process, and you keep getting better and better and better. Now we've always wanted to play an up-tempo, aggressive style, free-flowing, more flowing type of reads, motion type offense, aggressive type defense. But sometimes when you take over programs, you don't quite have that level of skill and athleticism because the coach that you replace maybe have a different philosophy. So you can't automatically come in and make that change. And so we've evolved, and we're in a pretty good pace now that I think we're comfortable that now we're attracting guys who want to be a part of the way we will play. And we also, are not trying to put a square peg in a round hole. We try to bring in guys who fit what we want, and we try. And so it's kind of a match. We see guys that consider us need to be a part of a system like we have, and then our system needs guys like the guys we're trying to bring in. So it all kind of works together.
Thank you.
Go to Aaron from Louisville.
Hey, Coach. Yeah, Aaron from WDRB. I know you said Monday, looking back at last year's ACC tournament, that you did not expect to play that game. I'm curious, the day before when you had the bye, how distracting was it as you maybe tried to prepare for your game and kind of be with your guys, or were you successful in kind of keeping the noise out, or was it impossible to avoid all the happenings going on in the world?
Our players have been very good following our lead. And I'm sure they have outside noise and people that they talk to, but we fairly well connected, where we try to conduct ourselves on a normal basis in a very matter of fact type of focus. Let's worry about that which we can control. And we try to teach them that because that's what life is all about. Sometimes you can find yourself creating stress and anxiety when you're overly concerned about something that you really don't have anything to do with in the first place. But no, during that period, we didn't really talk. We prepared like we normally do, and we didn't want to create any indecision in their mind. I talked to my staff about how I felt, but until we had an answer, I was not going to interject that into their thought process. But I was relieved that we didn't play.
Follow up from Louisville.
Yeah, I guess on the flip side of things, I was there when we were all standing on the court. You were getting the trophy, and they were kind of sending us all home. I guess just curious how you remember that moment. Was it surreal to you, and did you have any clue what was coming next?
To be very honest with you, I was somewhat confused because during those moments in the discussion with the athletic director, the commissioner, it's my understanding that we would not finish to the tournament and that we would represent the ACC in the NCAA tournament because we had finished the regular season as the champions. I did not hear or was not aware that we actually would be presented a trophy or anything of that nature. And I must say, you know, that like most people doing that emotional communication there, you're thinking, you know, how am I going to handle this with the players? Someone's talking with you, but you're listening through your ears, but your mind is processing it, and you're thinking about your kids and, you know, how you're going to deal with this. And sometimes I guess I just didn't hear the dialogue. And so as we were being presented the trophy, I was wondering, you know, in my mind, with us, what actually was transpiring, were we really being declared the champions of the ACC tournament? And it was a little, I was a little uncertain as to what was going on. That was very emotional. And as a coach, you have to try to maintain some level of calmness for everybody. But I was taken back a little bit about as I tried to process, gosh, are we going to still play the NCAA tournament? Are we going to get on back? And what are we going to do? How are we going to manage this? Lots running through my mind as I'm standing there, you know, in the midst of not being able to play in the tournament, which I thought I was looking forward to, but was relieved that we did not have the tournament.
Go to Chris Nee.
Good morning, Leonard. I was wondering, you talked Wednesday evening after the win about the rare opportunity to play for a championship. How do you address that with guys that are new to this team that weren't part of that last year, while also just trying to treat this as yet another ACC game?
Well, we have been talking about this all along. I think every school in America starts the season out wanting to win a national title. Everybody wants to win a conference regular season. Everybody wants to win a conference tournament. And our conversation with them has been they're in life as coaches. Very few guys can ever stand on that podium and hold one finger up and say we're number one. In college basketball, there's be only one team that's gonna say we won a championship. And as many times as long as I've been involved with the sport, I've been fortunate more than most to have won a lot of conference championships and gone to the NCAA, you know, because I've just been blessed with that type of future. But it doesn't happen very much. There are some people go through life not ever winning a championship in anything. Ping pong, marbles, jack rocks, rope jumping. That's just the way it is. It's rare to say that you have won a championship. And we have to value that. We have to put it in perspective. And to be in a unique opportunity to participate for a championship in a league with the prestige, that prestigious league like the ACC is beyond our imagination. And to have an opportunity to do that, you know, we have to appreciate and respect that and not let this moment pass without saying that you gave it all you had in order to make this a reality. And we talk about that prior to this last weekend, how unique and special it would be, and that people who are able to do that, they're rare. They have a rare mindset. And what you find that most of your success this time of year has more to do with your mentality and your approach as opposed to anything else. And in order to get to that mindset, that's something we all can control. And I challenge them as to what are this group going to do to make sure we don't let this opportunity slip away. And so we are trying to coach their minds and their spirits, probably more so than their bodies, because their minds and their spirits are locked in. That gives them an opportunity to be successful with their athleticism and their bodies.
Go to Ira Schoffel next.
Hey, Leonard. Obviously, Notre Dame's been struggling lately, but they, it wasn't that long ago that they won at Duke. They have a couple blowout wins in the last month or so. What does that concern you that team is still in there, even though they've been struggling lately?
Well, I think we've only won there once in a number of years. They definitely have our respect. It's their senior day, even though they don't have very many seniors. We know they're going to be pumped. We know they have a tremendous amount of pride at Notre Dame, and they have played well enough this year where they have won some outstanding games. They play a unique style, it's somewhat different and challenging for people, especially when they're at home, because they play to shoot threes. They recruit guys that can really, really shoot the ball. And similar to us, their style is a little different to adjust to. For instance, most people, when people drive into the lane, that collapses the defense and they're kicking that thing out for shots. Well, with them, you got to respect the fact that not only they're driving to score, they're driving to kick. And the guys, so all the defensive principles that you operate with, normally we're trying to protect the paint. That's what they want you to do. They want you to protect the paint so they can shoot threes. So you can't help them but play the way you played all along, and they give you an unbelievable challenge in your discipline to make the adjustments that have to play with them. So this is not easy. It hasn't been easy for us, but it's an important opportunity for us that we got to be hitting on all cylinders, because we need this victory in order to go back-to-back champions. And who knows, you can't get a three-peat until you go back-to-back.
Go to Antwan from the Democrat.
Hi, Coach. I probably know your answer to this before I ask, but I'm just going to ask it anyway. During this time where you're trying to win a ACC championship and also get ready for NCAA tournament, how much do you think about seeding at this point? And if you don't, then what do you think about? What do you try to work on during this time if you don't think about the seeding?
First thing I want to know is, where were you last week, man? We were looking for you last interview, man. You were hiding. We can't have a successful conference without you. We missed you. I just want you to know that, man. I almost didn't want to give the interview, man, because you wasn't with us. I was about as sad as I was for my losing the green team the other day, man. I thought I'd lost you. Okay.
I'm sure you didn't miss me asking you about the slow start. So
anyway, fellas, I just don't think a whole lot about seeding, other than the fact that seeding gives your team and your school a certain amount of recognition. You know what I mean? At the end, okay, where are you? So either you at a high seed. Now, I do believe that they say the higher seeds you are supposed to be better for you once you get to the NCAA tournament. I'm not too far removed from just trying to get to the NCAA tournament. I ain't worrying about what seed, just trying to make sure that you're in that 68. So this is kind of a new territory for us now that we can stick our chests out and start talking about that, where we are from a seed standpoint. So I think, Antwan, our approach, our philosophical approach, is just only worry about that which you can control. I know you think that's a coaching cliche, but believe me, that's the philosophy of our program, and we don't deviate. I can't control where we're seated, but I can control our preparation and how we're going to approach each day in practice and how we're going to approach each game. And hopefully, if we approach that which we can control properly, the seeding will take care of itself. But now, don't get me wrong, I do understand it's important, but not important enough for me to worry a whole lot about it, because I know the best way to have the best seed is to try to have the best season you can have. And if I stay focused on that, that kind of works for me. I'm kind of a simple guy. I don't have a whole lot of, I'm not superstitious. You know, I don't have a whole lot of isms other than the fact that I just want to take it one day at a time. That works for me. And I'm not going to deviate from that and get clogged up with the hype that goes along with some of the other stuff. Now, I know that social media, people in our guys' ears, they see all the shows and hear all the talking heads. But as a coach, I realize if I get caught up putting pressure on myself to be at a certain seed, then I might not be concerned myself with contesting those 3-point shots that I know Notre Dame's going to be throwing up from the parking lot on Saturday.
Go to Ben from the FSU.
Antwan, did you know that's what I was going to say?
Yeah, pretty much, yeah.
Hey, good morning, Coach. I hope you're doing well. I just wanted to ask you today about the joy that this team plays with. It seemed like after the game last night, that's what all the players were talking about. And it seems like you've talked about this throughout the season, how guys want to come out for each other and how much they love playing with each other. So I was wondering if you could talk about how much that plays into your team success and how that plays into your coaching philosophy.
I think every coach wants to have camaraderie, teamwork, unity, and unselfish spirit. But when you are an athlete and you're being supported by people who, in many cases, have never really played a sport, they don't have a full understanding of how hard it is, how much work it makes, and they mostly support the individual because they don't know all your teammates. So consequently, most people get accolades for statistically how many points they score, whether you won, and how did you do. And so you grow up in somewhat of a being promoted by selfish reasons, subconsciously, but that's how you get recognition. That's how you get your name in the paper, how many points, how many rebounds, whether or not you won or not. So now all of a sudden you start playing at this level, it becomes a unit, a togetherness, a teamwork, of people sharing the ball, sharing playing time. It's almost contradictory to how these guys got to where they are now, because they have been recruited because they were exceptional athletes and scored a lot of points and got a lot of statistics that gave them an opportunity to get the education. So now they come to college and you're trying to mesh that. You're trying to develop that unity, that togetherness, and you say it, but it's so hard to accomplish it because of the outside noise, the family, the support from the people who care the most about them, who don't even know some of the players on your team. So to mesh that and have these guys feel good about their relationships and feel that they're brothers. You know, when you have brothers and sisters, y'all share. Sometimes you sleep in the same bed. Sometimes you drink out of the same cup. Sometimes you wear the same clothes, you know, and you just, you know, you share whatever you have with the person who you love and care the most about. You know, you don't have a problem, you know, giving it your, as a child, sharing your candy bar with your brother or your sister. And so my point to you, to mesh all that and to see the sharing and caring and the unselfish spirit that these guys operate with is unique, special, and is to be recognized and embraced. I mean, these guys, the psychological, emotional attachment that these guys have for each other is phenomenal. I mean, I was trying to put Tanar Nagam in the game the other night, and he was begging me to put Quincy in the game. That happens all the time. These guys really treat each other like they're brothers. I mean, they're inseparable. I mean, before every practice, I got more hugging and chest bumping and dapping and high-fiving going on. I mean, hugging and lifting each other up. It's almost like it's a ceremonial, emotional expression before we start practice every day. I mean, I have guys, Scotty Barnes, will come in for breakfast, and he won't sit down until he hug every player. I mean, the one of the most emotional things I witnessed the other night before we played the game was each one of the seniors that came up to talk about how much the experience had meant to them. If it was 25 people in the scout report, it had to be 24 with tears in their eyes. I mean, it was one of those moments where each guy had moments where they couldn't talk as they were trying to express themselves to their teammates about how much the experience had meant to them. But that's real. It's not phony. It's not fake. It's not something that we're trying to promote or market. That's legit respect they have for one another. And I think 100% right. That's one of the reasons why I think that our team has been able to be as successful as we have been over the years, because we legitimately don't care who get the credit. And it's an amazing atmosphere to experience. And every day as coaches, we marvel at, you know, how much these guys emotionally believe in each other and adjust to, you know, what we believe is the right way for us to coach and run a program.
Any more questions for Coach this morning?
Well, one of the things I want to make you guys aware of is I went into the game in our preparation the other day, and I think I said the other night at the press conference, I had no idea that Scotty Barnes, who had tonsillitis, and his tonsils was affected, he did not practice at all. I had no idea he was going to play. MJ Walker had not practiced before the Pittsburgh game. I didn't know he was going to play at Pittsburgh. He didn't practice prior to Miami. And I had no idea that he would play. So in our preparation, I was trying to figure out what rotation I would have in the shoot around. And for whatever reason, those guys miraculously came around. And that just says a lot. They wasn't 100%. But MJ, he wanted to make sure he played in his last home game. And Scotty Barnes was determined that he wanted to be able to play so he could help the walk-ons in the green team leave on a positive note. But that just says a lot about the character of this team and the love and respect they have for one another, of truly wanting to represent our last game in good fashion. This team has I can cite many situations where this team represents what the student athlete term really means. And our fans can be very proud of how these guys have conducted themselves. With that said, let's hope that we can go to South Bend and get us one this weekend.
Thanks, everybody.
Thanks, Coach.
Thanks, Coach.
All right,
Thanks,
Anthony,
Coach.
make sure you don't miss any more shows, man. Come on.
All right, I'll be on.
All right, buddy.